Hello, good evening, all.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
So,
Is
Welcome back.
okay. So I want to believe I'm in the right class. I've been having some
Yes,
issues with
sir.
my Zoom. So sorry, that has been why I joined late. I was having a bit of an issue with my Zoom. So I've been struggling to solve that. Okay, so I want to believe I'm in the right class. Please, my name is Mr. AK, and I want to believe I'm not new. Is there anybody here that you're hearing that name for the first time? Let me be
yeah,
sure
here.
I'm in the right
You're in,
class.
you're in the right class, sir.
Okay. So this is the data analysis class that last night's class was okay. At least I've gotten some confirmation, and I think I'm beginning to see some familiar names. Okay, so let's begin. Okay. So last night is it just because of last night that class did not hold, that our attendance has dropped so much? I'm seeing just 60 something persons here at this time. This is poor.
I believe they are still
Because this class
joining.
used to be a class that people join early. So since just roughly 70 now is a poor one. But okay, let's just kickstart. So before I go ahead, um, please, so far, everything we've done, down to the level of count ifs and down to the level of all these cell referencing, this, that, I want to believe we are all good. Yes, somebody said audible. Please, am I audible? Can we all hear me?
Very
Somebody is
audible.
complaining about me being audible. Okay. So I think most people can hear me. So if you can't hear me, then it should be from your network or from your audio device. Somebody even said I should put my mouth near the speaker.
You
That's
are loud
serious.
and
Okay,
clear.
please don't worry. Okay. So if you have a question over what we've done so far, let's just use the next maybe 7 to 8 minutes. And so you have a question so far over what we've done. Please, which area do you have a question? So today we are moving on to lookup functions. So before we move to lookup functions, I want to be sure we've done or we've cleared everything that we've done so far. So please, if there's anywhere you're still having issues, or maybe perhaps you didn't understand that part very well. So this is time for that question. Please let's do that very snappy. I'll just answer just two questions. So the first two hands to be raised, those are the people I will just attend to so that we can start whatever it is we have for tonight. Okay, so I think I have a hand raised. Um, that's Rosemary. Rosemary Oni. Rosemary can unmute.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
See that
Good
if you
evening,
cannot hear me,
everyone.
I think it's from your end. It's not a general thing. Others can hear me very well. So it's from your end. So if you can't hear me, please, that should be from your end.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
All right. Please, I would like to ask, I don't know, if is there anything we should look out for in perhaps we're having data to work with, and a particular task was given to work with. What are the things we need to look for to know the kind of suitable particular tax? Because
But
I tried to I downloaded some data and trying to work with it. I noticed that sometimes I was supposed to use if I will use if and all. I think that area is confusing, sir.
Okay. So, how do I even answer that question? I think what is there is that if you're supposed to use if, okay, I think first and foremost, you need to even understand the roles that each of these formula plays, what they are used for, and how they are being used. I think that's the first thing for you to even understand how to make use of these formulas. You first need to understand because there may be a situation where what I'm trying to achieve, yes, maybe a VLOOKUP can give that result to me, but I really don't need to use a VLOOKUP there. Maybe I need to use maybe a tool like index and match because of, so it just has to do with the peculiarity of what you're trying to get. So that's where any data given to you, first and foremost, what are you trying to do? What is your analysis about? So if you understand very well what your analysis is about, that would now inform you on the particular technique or the particular tools that you are to make use of. So Rosemary, please unmute. When you ask a question, please don't mute yourself so that we can interact. Let me be sure you're getting me. So, Rosemary, did you get that explanation?
Yes, sir. It's very clear, sir. I'll have to go and probably go online, check more information about all of the formulas and get familiar with them. I think with that should help.
Yes, get familiar with the formula and then know exactly what kind of analysis you're doing, what you're trying to achieve. So the moment you know what you're trying to achieve with that analysis, that would also help you know what is the best method to use to achieve what you want to achieve. So
Okay, sir.
most times it's
Thank
dependent
you so
on
much, sir.
your end result. Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Uh, Latifat, you can unmute.
Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Well done, sir.
You're welcome.
So please, my question is, when we're doing the sum ifs, when we wanted to choose our the last criteria, we went back to the sheet. We went back to the second sheet, and we had to pick USA from that sheet. When I wanted to do my own assignment, I forgot I had to go back to that sheet. So I just instead of picking the USA from the second sheet, I just wrote the criteria as USA. You get. So when I wanted to run this thing, I think it was displaying error or something. It was not displaying the right figure for me. So then I had to remember that I had to go and pick the criteria at the second sheet. So I want to know, is there like is there do we have to always speak it that way? Like, why did it not understand that USA? Like, why did you have to go and pick when I already wrote USA as a criteria? I don't know if you can. Hello.
Okay, sorry about that. Somebody was unmuted. So, okay, so to answer your question, the reason you had to go to that sheet and pick USA was just because you were trying to do a relative cell reference. You're trying to show Excel what you're doing so that Excel can continue that process for you. Of course, you can enter USA, but if you enter USA and you enter, that first one will be correct. The first one was correct, true or false?
I guess it was. Yes, it was.
Yes, but now when you're running it down for others, those ones cannot be correct because you just entered USA and the only thing Excel understands there is USA. But now if I reference the cell where USA is, automatically Excel will know that, oh, the next one, it should move downward and reference the next one. So that is just the reason why you're referencing USA from the sheet where it is, because you just want that relative cell movement to continue. You don't want something that later Excel would look confused, does not know what next to do.
I get it now. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome. Okay. I said two. Now I'm seeing more than two hands. Alexandra, please make it very fast.
How are you?
Yeah, good evening.
Okay, fine. Now, I am still so depressed about my table because I went back to the technician and he said everything he put in my computer is genuine. So this was a real life situation because from my product 10, there was serialization all the way to 500. So it was 10, 11, 12, 13, all the way. So the guy said I probably pressed something, but I don't think so. So what exactly could have happened? Because in terms of the gifts and everything, I got that right. But I don't understand why it's serialized from number 10.
So you don't have 1 to 9.
I have from 1 to 9, I have, but it's different products. It's all assorted. Product 3, 5, 7, 2. It doesn't follow the order of 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 10. It's assorted. But from product number 10 all the way to 500, it's serialized. So it goes 11, 12, 13, 14, product 15 up to product 500. That's from product 10.
Honestly, I don't know how that data set got corrupted getting to you, because thank God it was the general list, at least some persons can bear me witness, is the same data set everyone used. So, but however, I don't think that's not the first time I'm seeing something like that. Sometimes things like that happen where you send some data sets and some persons on their own laptop, I don't know, maybe due to settings or whatever, the whole thing is changes format, or you just experience that it is not in the original form. But however, I don't know how something like that is resolved. So, but I really don't know, because honestly, I just don't. Is the data set I've been using, is the data set I sent and every other person used. So I just don't know how the whole thing got. And I've said copy it to a new this thing completely. Did you try copying it?
No, he had my computer. He returned my computer today.
Okay. So what you would
So
do,
I didn't copy it.
what you would
Yeah.
what you would do now, try getting the data set again, open it again and see. Then this time, when you open it, if it's giving you issue, then maybe just try copying it to a brand new page or a brand new workbook in short. Just copy it and
Oh,
paste on it and see if that would.
okay. It actually serialized to 466 because the rest of the products I think were okay. So it's not up to 500. 460.
So
All
honestly,
right. I get you.
okay. So
Okay.
let's
Thanks.
try it again and see. Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
Thank you.
Last but not the least, Uforita. Please, that will be the last so that we can start for tonight. Uforita. Please, can you make it very snappy?
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Please, I want to ask, how can we derive data? Like where? Like which side? Because like this one that you have been using to teach us now, I've been trying to check online if I will see any data relating to that, but I can't find. So please, can you tell us like where to get data from?
So there are different websites or online places you can get data from, but I think one of the most consistent one that I use most times is a Cargo. So if you check Cargo, you would get Cargo has data sets. Then if you go on Google too and search for maybe data sets on sales, data set on, just tell Google the type of data set you're looking for. Google too will give you data set. Then these days, AI has even made things much easier because even if you go to your ChatGPT and ask it to create a data set, if you're detailed enough, ChatGPT itself would create for you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let us dive into the topic for tonight. Okay, so I said tonight we'll be starting the lookup functions. Okay, so let me share my screen now. Okay. So I want to believe everyone can see my screen right now. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's fine. So I said we want to start with lookup functions. So what are lookup functions? So we say lookup functions are powerful tools in Excel and other spreadsheet applications. So they are used to find and retrieve specific data from a range or table. These functions simplify data analysis by enabling users to search for values in rows or columns or across arrays and return corresponding data. Okay, so this part, I wouldn't want to do too much explanation on it. So I think when we get to the practical part, all this English will become easier to understand. So now let's look at the first lookup function that we'll be treating today. That's the VLOOKUP function. So we say the VLOOKUP functions searches for a value in the first column of a table and then returns a value in the same row from a column you specify in the table. So VLOOKUP is useful for looking up values in a table or data set that are organized vertically, such as customer information or product details. So now let's look at the syntax for VLOOKUP. So the syntax is easy, equals to VLOOKUP. Then the first command you have there is your lookup value. So you give it a lookup value. After the lookup value, you put your comma. Then it takes you to the next command, which is the table array. After the table array, put your comma. It takes you to the next one, which is the column index number. After that comma, then it takes you to the last one, which is range lookup. So as you can see, range lookup is in a square bracket, showing us that that is optional. I've always said that anytime you see any command on the syntax that is in a square bracket, that it means that that command is optional. I can choose to ignore it or make use of it. So now let's look at what each of these commands on the syntax, what they mean. So for the first one, lookup value. So we say this is the value you want to search for. The value you want to search for. So the way VLOOKUP works is I use one thing to search for another thing. So there's always a value I use to search for what I'm looking for. So I want to get Peter, but in order to get Peter, I need to first of all use Peter's address to look for Peter. So my lookup value becomes Peter's address, but the end result of me making use of that address is not to know the color of house or whatever else. What I'm looking for is Victor that lives in that address. So that is just the simple explanation. So your lookup value is that thing you're using to look for whatever it is you want to return. So just like I explained in this, my little analogy, I'm looking for Victor. But in order to get Victor, I'm trying to use his address to look for him. So that address becomes my lookup value. But in reality, what I'm looking for is not that address. Rather, what I'm looking for is Victor, who stays in that address. So that address is just a lookup value, but Victor is what I want to return. Victor becomes my return value. Okay, so the next one is the table array. So for the table array now, we say this is the range of cells that contain data that you want to search. So the range of cells that contain data that you want to search. Let me also add it here. For your table array, the table array, we say is the range of cells that contain the data that you want to search. So the way VLOOKUP works, when you're selecting your table array, it must cover both your lookup value and whatever it is that you want to return. They must be inside of that array. And there's also another rule. The lookup value in that, when you're trying to select your array, the lookup value must be on the leftmost part of that array. That means I cannot be looking for Victor and not start from where I have address. So if I'm looking for Victor and I have address, there may be the building color and so many other columns, I would need to, because that address is what I'm using as my lookup value, I'll need to start my table array from where that address is and make sure it covers everything down to where Victor is. That is the only way. Okay, when we get to the practical section, we'll understand better what I'm trying to explain there. Then the next one is your column index number. So the column index number here is simple. It is the column you want to return. So this is where the return value is. So now I have selected a very big array or a large array that covers down both from my lookup value down to what I want to return. The next thing now is when I get to what I want to return, Excel has seen me selecting multiple columns. Excel would like to know which column exactly I'm interested in, so that by the time it looks for that very lookup value, it should know the column it should return for me. That's the position in the column that I'm interested in. So I need to tell Excel which of the columns I'm returning. Okay, the next one now is the range lookup. So this one is just used to specify the type of match you're looking for. So when Excel gets to that position, should it return an exact match? By exact match now, I'm saying, should it return exactly what it finds in that position, or should it do an approximation? So when we say approximation here, we are talking about Excel returning values that are closest to the value. That's the closest value to that lookup, this thing. No, the closest value to the original result, but it will not give you the original result because it's not exactly, but it will give you the next closest. Let me also state this. For an approximate match, if you're using approximate match, most times you're doing an approximation. So you're using a criteria somewhere to do that approximation. And that criteria you're using for that approximation must appear in an ascending order. That's the only way your approximate match would work. Okay, so I know I've said a lot of things and some people are already confused. So let's get on to the practical. Okay. So some persons are still here. They are still complaining about my volume. What could be the problem?
I think they need to check their volume because you are audible.
Okay, thank you very much for that feedback. So please, people should check your volume. I've just gotten a feedback that I'm audible.
Yes, it's audible, but it's breaking. It's breaking. Audible, but breaking.
Okay, so is it breaking on all sides? Is it breaking? Is it a general thing?
I think it's a network, but it's not breaking. It's my own side here.
Okay.
It's not breaking yet, too. It's cool.
Okay, so I think we can.
You guys need to check your network. Not breaking, yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. So now, all of these grammars, we want to now put them into practice and see how all of this is visible. Let me use that word. How is all of this visible? Okay, so now what I want to do here is, this is the most basic form of us using VLOOKUP. So I just want to use this so that we can try out all of those things I'm saying. So yeah, I want to use rec number. Let me use this rec number 1045. And what do I want to look for? I want to look for the total score of this rec number. The total of this rec number. So how do I use VLOOKUP to do a thing like this? I could just say equals to VLOOKUP. So now my lookup value is, I'm trying to use this rec number, is what I'm using as my lookup value, the rec number. And then I hit my comma. Now it will ask me table of array. Remember we said the table of array must cover from where your lookup value is down to what you're looking for. And in this case, I'm looking for the total score of this rec number. So that means in me selecting my table of array, it has to start from where rec number is. Possibly not from this first one. I could choose to maybe go down and start somewhere else. But for the sake of just making sure I cover everything, so I'll just start from here and cover. Remember, it's total I'm looking for. So the column where total is must be inside of my array. So what I just did, I just copied everything. You can see. So now I've gotten my array. This is my table array. I hit my comma. The next thing it's going to ask me now is the column index number. So it's asking me that in all of these columns that you've selected inside of this array, which column am I to return when I go and look for this record number that you've used as your lookup value? Which column as against this rec number are you willing to return? So in this case, I need to take account of the column I want. So now I started from rec number. So your count must start from where you started from. So in this case, I started from rec number. So that means this is column 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, this is 7, this is 8, and then where we have total is column 9. In this array, remember, you count your columns only from the array. So if I started my array from any other place, I don't need to come and start counting from here. I need to start my count from where I started my array from. So in this case, what I want it to return is the total, and that's the 9th column. So my column index number is going to be 9 in this case, comma. Then now the range lookup. So it's asking me when I get to this position where this rec number is, and I find the total score, do you want me to return exactly what I find there, or do you want me to return an approximate match? Now, if I say exact match, that means exactly what is in that position is what Excel is going to return for me. But if I say approximate match, Excel is going to do an approximation and return something else. But now the rule for approximate match is that the whatever you're using to do the approximation. So since it's total, I'm doing everything here. I would have to have first arranged it in an ascending order. That's the only way approximate match works. So if it's not arranged in an ascending order, then approximate match, even in this case, would not work. So that is how approximate match works. Okay, so now what we need here is exact match. You can see exact match is false. True is approximate match. So one thing I can do is to choose this, which is false, or another thing I can do, if I don't want to do true or false, I can just do 1 or 2. So if I put 1, 1 represents approximate match, which is true. And if I put 0, 0 represents false, which is exact match. So you can either come here, select it manually this way, or you can just put your 1 or 0. 1 is for true, 0 is for false. So either ways, they are all the same thing. So if I close this now and I hit enter, so immediately it's telling me that the total score for this very rec number is 27. So let's confirm that this is 1045. So let's go down. Let's go to 1045. So this is 1045. Let me select everything, then let's see. So you can see, indeed, the total score for 1045 is 27. So how was Excel able to find this? Because immediately it came and saw the lookup value. Immediately it went to the column we have asked it to return for us, and it returned exactly what it found in that very column against the lookup value that we selected. That was how we were able to get this. So if I should come back here to this formula, and I now tell it, okay, it's not this column 9 I'm interested in. I tell it, no, what I want in this whole array is just give me whatever is in column, let's say column 4. So what do you think is going to be my answer now if I press enter? Let me see those that are following. So if I'm selecting column 4, what would be my answer here? Okay, that's good. That means some of us are following. So yes, if I select column 4, my answer is going to be the last name, because that's the fourth column in that array. You can see this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, so this is 4. So if I leave it at that 4 and I keep it at false, if I press enter, immediately it gives me whatever it finds there. So that means for this very name, and for this very rec number, this is the last name. So let's go back and confirm that. If I come here, we confirm that 1045, you can see the last name here is Michael. So that is what is in column 4, and that is what it has returned for us. Okay. Some person said I'm being fast, and I think I'm quite slow. So how am I fast? Okay, don't worry, you'll catch up. We'll be doing multiple examples with this. We'll be doing multiple examples with this. Okay. So another thing I can do is I can also use VLOOKUP to do my gradings here by telling VLOOKUP what results here it is to use and return grades. I think that's a bit complex right now. Let's go back to the simple ones. We'll come back to something of that nature. Okay, so this is the next data set I want us to look at. So in this data set, what I have here, I decided not to mute everybody. Okay, let me mute. Some people just not mute themselves. Let me help us do that. Okay. So now what we have here is this. Here we have customer ID, here we have name, and here we have feedback. So what are we trying to achieve here? Let me close this. So what we are trying to achieve here is we want every time we enter a customer ID here, for Excel to return the name of whichever name is aligned to that customer ID. So this is an example of something you can do with VLOOKUP. But let me paint a broader picture. A broader picture is sometimes you go into, let's say, maybe a pharmacy and you ask for a particular drug, and maybe the sales girl or whoever is there in the counter does not know the exact position of that drug. And then you see the person maybe opens the system, and the next thing the person enters the name of that drug and the position, or maybe the shelf number. That's if it's a very big pharmacy, the shelf number appears for the person, so the person can easily know that, okay, for this very drug, I can find it in this part of the shelf, because all of those informations have already been entered. An example also can be something like you go to a bank, you're making a complaint. The only thing the bank customer care person is asking you for is, okay, can I have your account number? So the moment your account number is entered, every other information about you or that account is made available to that. So things like that, you can develop that using VLOOKUP. Very, very possible. In short, we'll be doing something like that where you can return multiple columns. You just enter a particular thing, and then it displays all other information that is linked to that very thing. So for this very example, what we want to do, remember we say these are the customer ID. We have 5 customer ID here. We have 5 different names here attached to each of these ID, and then this is the feedback. So we are not doing anything with the feedback, but we just want to use the customer ID to get the name. So now, of course, where we do our VLOOKUP on is in the name, because this is where we want to return a value. We are only using whatever is here to return what is here. So here is where we want the values returned. So that's why we do our VLOOKUP here. So I'll say equals to VLOOKUP. Now, my lookup value will be, what am I looking up for? So at this point, I want to be changing this customer ID here. And I want, anytime I change the customer ID here, it should return the exact name that is aligned to that very customer ID. So that means for my lookup value to work, every time I change a number, it works. That means I'll need to use whatever is here. So this cell becomes my lookup value. Yes, I have not put in any number here, but the fact remains that Excel knows that whatever is here is what I want to use as my lookup value. So I'll put a comma to that. Immediately I've chosen my lookup value. The next thing is, I'll now show Excel where this thing that I want to be here, where is it going to find it? So remember we said your table array must cover both your lookup value and what you want to return. So in this case, my lookup value is the customer ID, which is, we have it here. And then what I want to return is the name, which we have it here. So I must make sure my array covers from here to here. If I like, I can even extend it to this one. It still does not change anything, in as much as the 2 main things have been covered, both my lookup value and my return value. So now let me just stop it here. I've selected my table array. I hit comma. Then, of course, it's asking me for an index number, column index number. So my column index number would be here would be 2, because this is the first column, this is the second column, and what I want to return is in the second column. So my column index number would be 2. The moment I do that comma, it will ask me when it goes there, is it an approximate match or an exact match? So I need an exact match. And then I'll close my bracket and I'll hit enter. The moment I hit enter, you can see it's giving me an NA error. Why is it giving me an NA error? Because there's no value here that aligns to what I asked it to look for. But now if I come here and I enter 1 and I hit enter, have you seen that 1 has immediately brought a name for me? Because now it has seen a value there that matches something in that array that I selected. And now if I come here and I enter, let's say 5, and I hit enter, immediately it shows me the name that belongs to this very ID, because it can match this ID to what it has in that array that I selected. But how about if I come here and I enter a number that is not existing, let's say 6, and I hit enter, of course, it's going to show me this NA error. So I can also solve this error message if I don't want it appearing. Maybe I don't want this not available or NA showing. Rather, I want it to just write not found. That's the error message I want. Anytime you enter anything here that does not match with what I have, you should not put it this way. You should just write not found. Or let's just put not found. So how do I do this? I use the error. There are formulas you use to control error. So one of it is the if error, another one is if any. So you use those to control error. So how do I use that? So all I'll do is I'll come to my formula. Before the VLOOKUP, I'll come here, before the VLOOKUP, and I'll enter if. So you can see there's if error here, there's if NA here. So let me just use the if error, but both are the same thing. So if error. Now what has happened? I've invoked this formula if error. But now, this if error, I still left my VLOOKUP to be here. All I'll just do now is I'll come here, I'll put a comma, and then I'll now tell if error what to do. If it does not find the value I'm looking for, it should just, in double quotes, it should just put for me not found. And then I'll close that double quote. So now, what have I done? I've told if error, please allow my VLOOKUP to run. But in the case where VLOOKUP cannot find the right answer for me, then produce not found for me. Not, and so that is just the simple explanation of what I've done here. If error, VLOOKUP is inside, but if error, allow VLOOKUP first to do its work. If VLOOKUP is correct, let it be. But if not, then if error, control the error for me and just give me this value, which is not found. That's the value I want. So my VLOOKUP was opened here and closed here. Oh, no, VLOOKUP was opened here and closed here, but my if error is opened here and it's not closed. So I need to close for my if error that was open, and then I hit enter. Immediately I hit enter, you see 6 now is showing me not found. So no matter the value I put, even if I put 25 and I hit enter, it's still that not found that is going to show me. But if I go back here and I put 3 and I hit enter, 3 will show me, will give me the right answer, will give me a name that belongs to 3. It will not show me any error. So that's to say, VLOOKUP will do its work. But in the case where VLOOKUP cannot find a value that matches what I'm looking for, then if error would control the error message and return the value I've asked it to return for me. So if I come here and I say 5, of course I have 5 there, 5 will still give me the right answer. But if I come here and I say 8 and hit, it will give me not found because it can no longer find 8 in that array. Okay. I want to believe I'm not confusing us. I want to believe we are following. I want to believe we are following. Okay, I'm getting a lot of this feedback of breaking. Let me see if there's something we can do about that. Okay, let me change my network. Let me change my network and see if that would. Okay. So I've changed my network to another one. So let me hope it will no longer break. Please, if it keeps breaking, someone should just let me know so that I would know but I've changed my network to another one. So let's see. Okay. So now it's time for questions before we move forward. I still have more examples that I want us to work on because if VLOOKUP is actually one very important formula in Excel. It's very, very important. So I would like for us to understand it in depthly before we move on. So I still have a few examples we will look at, but before that, let's take questions at this point. So if you have question, please raise your hand. Let's do that very fastly, very quickly, and move on. Okay, Benga, I can unmute.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. AK.
Yeah,
Thanks for the opportunity. Yeah. Please, how did you copy the old cells? For this particular one that we are doing now, we have just we have just 5 rows. So it's easier to copy it manually. But for the previous one you did, I don't know the shortcut that you used. Are you able, okay, let's assume we have 500 sets, 500 data, and I'm using VLOOK. So how am I going to copy all the sets using the VLOOK?
Okay, so I think I've talked about this before in class. So if you're copying multiple cells, all you need to do is, so see what I'm going to do now. So let's say I want to copy from this point down to let's maybe somewhere. So the moment I select here, the first thing I'm going to do, if I want to copy only things in this column, maybe from this point down,
Okay.
I will just, okay, maybe this example will not do justice to what I'm trying to explain. Let's use this. Okay.
Okay, yes. Yeah,
So
this is better.
if I click here, if I want to copy from this point to the last number, which is 50, but only in this column, all I'll just do is
Yes.
after picking the first one, I will hold Control and Shift together, and then I'll hit my
Okay.
down arrow. So in your keyboard, you have up, down, then you have left and right. Up, down, left, right. You have those 4 keys, right? So in
Yes.
this case, I want to copy down. So after holding Shift and Control together down, I will now hit my down arrow automatically to just copy from that point to the very last one. You can see
Okay.
it will copy.
Okay.
It will not
So
go. To not go beyond the last where I have the
then
last
the
item.
last data.
Okay.
So how about if you are copying everything
So if
from
I'm
the
copying
registration number,
multiple, what I'll do is
multiple,
after
yeah.
selecting this first one, I will hold down only Shift. I will hold down only Shift, come to the last one, click there. So that has copied from here to here. Then because I've copied from here to here, I'm still holding down Shift. I'll now hold down Control added to the Shift that I'm still holding down. So I'll now hold my Shift and Control together and then use the down arrow. It will still do the same thing for me.
So which means if I press down Control, so if I press Shift, Control, and down, it will copy everything.
Yes. Shift.
Okay.
Then you first of all select to the point where you need. That's if you're doing for multiple columns. So you hold Shift down, select to the last one, then now add Control to it, and then down arrow to copy everything in that range for you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. Questions before we move on. I'm waiting for questions. I'm not seeing questions. Is that to say we are all good to go? Okay, Bernard, if you have a question, please raise your hand, ask so that others can hear. I also like hearing our voices. I really don't like taking questions from the chat area. So just raise your hand. I will ask you to unmute and okay, so in the absence of any hand being raised, so I want to believe this was plain forward enough and we all understood very well. Or am I wrong? Okay. Alexandra, okay. Alexandra, you can unmute. Okay, your hand is down. You raised it and then your hand is down. Okay. Alexandra, you can unmute now.
Yeah, I missed the part after you select the area. How do you copy? Do you say what you just explained, that you highlight with Control Shift and down arrow key? So I highlighted the whole table. Then how do I now do the copy? Does it copy by itself or what?
Like I
Is
don't
there any other thing I need to do, any command after that, after highlighting?
No, in this case, if it's on a formula, you're just selecting a range. You're not copying. So the moment you select that range and you've gotten the range you're looking for, you hit your comma, it takes you to the next command on the formula. You've told it the
Okay.
range you're working with. But if you're selecting a range that you want to copy, maybe take it and paste somewhere else, that's where after selecting, you now either you right click on it and then choose copy, or you just use your Control C and copy. So, but that's if you're trying to copy everything there, perhaps take it to a new location. If not,
So after I do the Control C, do I then select the area where I'm pasting or?
no, if you're using Control C,
Yeah.
immediately after you select the area, you copy, then you move to whichever new area you're trying to paste it on. You just take it there and then, of course, you just use your paste to just.
So if it's a large data set, do I try to determine the number of cells it will cover, or wherever I put it, it will just replicate that data?
If if you're working with a large data set and you don't want to copy everything, then that means you have to just select. For example, if I want to copy only from this name, from this to 30, that means I'll just need to hold my shift down, or I'll just hold my left click down and do my normal dragging to copy, so that the moment I get to 30, I stop. The moment I get to 30, I can stop here. You understand? But if I'm using the other
Yes.
method, it will copy everything in as much as there is data. But if there's any space, it will stop before that space. So, but anywhere there is continuous data in that very sheet, it will copy to that point and stop there.
So where do you paste it? How do you select the area you're pasting? Do you just paste it, maybe 5 cells, it will cover the whole place, the whole data will be covered, or I have to determine sort of how many cells these are? Like if it is line row 1 to 50, where I'm copying, am I going to highlight again 1 to 50?
No.
Where I'm pasting rather?
No, you don't do that. For example, now I've copied this. If I right click and then I use my copy. So let's say I come to this page now. This is a new page. So if I come here, all I just need to do is either I use Control V, you see, to paste everything I copied. So I don't need to select the range. I just do my Control V, which is paste, or even right click to use the normal paste. It will stay, so I don't need to select the range before I paste.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, I think I have another hand. Latifat, you can unmute. Latifat, I said you can unmute.
Oh, sorry, I think good evening. Well done, sir.
Yeah,
I
good
guess my
evening.
network is bad. I don't know if it's mine or if it's just yours. So please, I don't know. Maybe from what others have been seeing. This recording, like the network was bad at the point when you were doing the VLOOKUP. In fact, I did not even get anything. So I don't know. Is it not going to affect the recording if I want to replay data? Is it not going to be skipping the way it was, the way it skipped while we're doing it? That's my first question. Then please, my second question, you were saying something when somebody asked the question now that if you have a missing value, we will not be able to highlight all. Probably it's going to skip, it's going to stop at that place where we have the missing value. So I want to ask, take for instance, through the process of data cleaning. Take for instance, maybe when they were taking the data, maybe some people did not fill some parts. How do we input those values? Is it just by just guessing that okay, probably from the look of the way this is, let's say age, let's say some people did not input their age. Do we have to return the data back to the person that took the data, or we just imagine and just do something or put something there just not for it to affect our data? I don't know if you get my question. I mean, during data cleaning.
Honestly, I don't get that. But now, one good thing around data cleaning is when you get to data cleaning, there are different cleaning tools. So there, we've not gotten there. When you get there, you begin to know the different. So there are tools you use to clean text. There are tools you use to clean, what is it called? Delimiters. There are tools so there are different these things you use.
Okay,
So
so we are still going there.
yes, for cleaning, we've not gotten to that part. So there are different, but now what I was trying to explain here is if maybe let's say I have 1 to 20 something, and then there is one column, one full row that is empty. There's nothing in that row, and I'm doing that normal control shift down. It will stop where the last listing is before that blank row. It will not copy because there's something on that and will continue. No, that's just what I was trying to explain. So when you use the control shift down, it copies everything to the point where you can see the last text or the last value within an array setting. But whenever you have a break somewhere, it will not jump that break and continue copying downward. So if you want to copy in a situation like that, then you have to do it manually. You copy and drag down to where you want. That was just what I was trying to explain in that situation.
Okay, please. Another question. When you were doing the lookup function, is it lookup or VLOOKUP that you did just now? You input a value. I think where you did the customer number, where you have 1, 2, 3. When you said when you put 25, that it should say found. And sorry, not found. That's when you have an ID that is not on the table. Do you get my question? So
Yes.
please, I want to know inside that function, is it just alphabets that we can have, or we can have letters too?
Yes,
Like, can it look letters too?
yes. If I tell it where there is no this thing, put 1 for me. Whatever value I put there is what it will return for me.
Okay, so we can say, okay, if you don't see color, put 1.
Yes. I'm the one determining whatever value I want it to give me. But now if I'm using numbers as my value, of course, you know the rule. You don't put numbers in double quotation.
Okay. All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Then the last hand I have raised here is Valentine. Valentine, please, let's be snappy so that we can. Valentine, you can unmute.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, I'm also asking in case instead of just selecting and shifting down, what if we just select from column A to I? It will, even if you click column A, it will select everything to I.
Okay. Like selecting from up.
Yes, from up.
Okay. So if you select from up,
Yes,
then it's selecting everything in that column. It's not
yes.
selecting only the part where things are written. That one selects everything. So it's just the same process like what we did, but the only thing is, so I'm in A now. If I hold shift and I come to I, yeah, sorry. So now I'm in A. I hold my shift down to I. So you see, it
Yes.
selects everything. So in this
Yes.
case, it has selected so it's not stopping. You see, if we go down, it does not stop where your last distance stop. It's the whole column to the end
Okay.
that has been selected. So that's the difference.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Emeka, you said, do you ever see my hand? Your hand is not raised. It's not raised on the participant area. So that's why I cannot see. Valentine is the last hand raised here. So maybe you used to raise your hand in the chat area, not the participant area. Okay, so let's move on. So moving on now, I want us to look at other examples. So now the next example I want us to look is, so we have a data set like this. Now in this data set, these are two different tables. Mind you, these are tables. So when things are in a table, the difference between a table and normal vertical arrangement of data is that a table is a locked section. So if you're doing something in a table, the area is already automatically locked. So if Excel is working with a table, it doesn't move relatively because it honors the boundaries of that table and does not move outside of that boundary. Okay, so now these are two different tables. This is one table, this is another table. But now the thing now is, we want to fill in free cookies for these people based on these free cookies we have here. Now, what am I trying to say? People bought cookies. This is the order, the quantity they ordered. So we are a cookies company. Let me just put it that way. And they ordered cookies from us. And the quantity they ordered is this. This first person, these are the order ID. So immediately an order is made, an ID is generated for that order. So these are the order ID. Then for this is the quantity. So this person ordered 363 cookies. This one ordered 101. This one ordered 245. This one ordered 356. This one ordered 26. This ordered 392. And this one ordered 433. So these are, then currently we are running a promo. And the promo is that for everybody who orders less than 100 cookies, you're not qualified for any free cookies. So you're getting 0. But if you're able to order up to 100, you get 5. If you're able to order up to 200, you get 10. And if you're able to order up to 300, you get 15. And if 400 and above, you get 20 free cookies. This is the free cookies, but these are the determinants for these free cookies. So now we want to see how many free cookies each of these order is qualified for. So free VLOOKUP is going to give us the free cookies that each of these order is qualified for. And this is the determinant for that. So anybody who bought less than each of these would know exactly how many he or she is qualified for. Okay. So now let's move on. So if you want to create a table, there are two different ways you can put your data into a table. The first one is to highlight the whole range of everything you have and press Ctrl T. That will put everything into a table. The next one is you can just come to your insert. When you come to insert here, you see where you have table. So you can use pivot table. You can use the normal table. So this is the two different ways you can put your data into a table. Okay. So to move ahead, remember what we said. We want to give them free cookies based on this determinant and based on how many they order. Okay. So equals to VLOOKUP. Now, what will be our lookup value? Let me see those that are following. What will be our lookup value here? Please, let's type in our answers. What will be the lookup value? Lookup value, what will it be? Quantity ordered, okay. Okay. Okay, I think a lot of us we are following. Yes, the lookup value will be the quantity ordered. So let's just pick this. So you see the difference now. When you're working with a table, Excel does not reference cells anymore. You see, I clicked on a cell, but instead of it giving me A2, which is the address of that cell, rather it is giving me the name of that column, the heading of that column. So when you create tables, Excel will always ask you if you want headers. So if you want headers, that means the first row will become headers, and whatever is on that first row will become the heading for each column. So now the heading for this column is quantity ordered. So the moment I pick a cell here, instead of Excel referencing A2, it will reference the name of that column. This is because when you work with a table, the moment you get the first, you will do it for the first answer, automatically Excel fills in orders for you. Excel does not wait for you to come and drag down. That's how tables work. Excel will just automatically fill orders. That's because Excel already understands the relationship that exists between those different parts of the table or different columns. So the moment you do for one, Excel automatically fills it for every other person. It does not wait for you to come and start dragging, except your Excel maybe has, I think this very data set has, should I call it a word on my system. So in my own system, it doesn't do that automatically. I have to drag. I noticed that, but most of you, when I'll send, because after the class, I'll send the data set, you will see that when you do it, Excel is going to automatically fill in everything for you. Okay, so now I've picked this as my lookup value. The next question is table array. So what is going to be my table array? From where to where will I select my table array from? From where to where? I'm waiting for answers. From where to where will my table array come from? No, just highlight the cell numbers. Let me know. Tell me from ADs to FDs or from BDs to, so give me the, okay, A1 to A8. Okay, so that means my table array should be everything here. Okay, somebody said from F2, so this is F2 to F6. That means everything here. Okay, so I'm waiting for more answers. Someone said from E2 to F6. Okay, that means everything from here down to here, everything here. Okay, I'm still waiting. Still waiting for more answers. E1 to F6. Okay, E2 to F6. A2 to C8. Okay. A2 to E2 to F6. Okay. Let me see. Let's keep it coming. Let me see those that are truly following me. Okay. So I think we've had quite a lot of answers. So I think those that are correct are those that said from either from E1 or E2, you're still correct, down to F6. So everything in that table where you have cookies ordered and free cookies, that is going to be our table array. Now you see that this negates the original law that I said your lookup table array must cover wherever your lookup value is down to what you want to return. You see that that law is no longer applicable here because, of course, if we are copying from E1 here or E2 down to here, that means we've not copied where we copied our lookup value from. So yes, there are situations where that law is being negated. Okay, I just wanted to state that. Okay, so now let's just copy everything in this table. So you see, the moment you copy up to 2 or 3 different columns, automatically Excel does not pick column names. Rather, it just shows the table name. So it's telling you that it's the whole table that was selected. You can see table 7 on. So that's the name of this table. Okay, so now we've picked our table array. So now, what will be the column index number? Column index number, what will it be? I'm waiting. Column index number, what will it be? I'm so impressed. This one, I'm saying I'm so impressed and I began to see wrong answers. Why is somebody giving me 3? Somebody is even saying 6. Wow. Wow. That means some people are not following. I said your column index number has to be counted from where you selected your array from. So in this case, our array is from E to F. So that means we have just 2 columns here in this array. So how can we never say column index number is 3 or 6? Because this is where we selected our array from E to F. So these are only 2 columns. Okay, so that means our column index number in this case is going to be 2 because it's the free cookies we want to return. So column index number will be 2. So we hit comma. So what will be the range lookup now? True or false? Okay, false, 0. Yeah, 0 is false. So 0, false. Okay. Okay, so let's go with the popular opinion. So they say false. So let's go with false. Okay, so I'll close this now and I'll hit enter. I'm getting error. So why am I getting error? Emmanuel say you cannot understand anything again. Emmanuel, where are you lost? Emmanuel, please, where are you lost so that we can come and look for you? Okay, so the truth there is, in this very situation, we are to use the true statement. So why we are using the true statement is because if you tell Excel false, Excel would have to match. No, for the person saying because it's in ascending order. This is ascending order now, 0, 100, 200, 300, 400. So this is already in ascending order. So it is okay. And here we have 0, 5. So it's in ascending order. So the only problem we are having here is that we are using false. So because we are using false, Excel came here where we picked our lookup value from and tried to match it with this criteria, and it cannot find any exact score of this and this. You can see there's no order here that matches this criteria exactly. So therefore, it cannot work. So it will give you error. But if I had said approximate, which is true, what Excel would have done is it will now look at this and look for which of these is the closest to any of these and would return the free cookies that matches that. Now, not exactly, but in approximation. So if it comes like this one, it sees that this is 360 something. It will know that, okay, 360 something belongs here because it is not up to 400. Therefore, it belongs here. So it will just return. So let's go back to the formula. Let's change it from false to true. So instead of false, let's pick true. And then we hit enter. Immediately you see that this value now, that was our loop, it has given the free cookies as 15. That's because when it comes here, this is the closest thing to this very number. This is the closest to it. And you can see if I come here and I run this down, you can see the answers for others. So for here, this is the closest thing, is 100, is the closest to this. And for here, 245, that's the closest thing. If you have 99, it will still give you 0. That's because you can see there now, 26 has 0. That's because 99 or 26 is not up to 100. And as far as this is concerned, it has to be up to 100 in order to get this. And it has to be up to 200 in order to. So anything in between will fall at the other part of it because it's not up to. So that is how that approximation has been done. Yes, when you're working with a range that is not exactly what is in the lookup value, then you use the true statement so that it does an approximation. But please do not forget the rule. If you're using approximation or the approximate match, this thing has to be arranged in an ascending order. Please, this is what I mean. Let's say I change this. Let's say I change this to 10. And I come here, I change this to, let's say, 0. And then you can see what has happened already, just by this thing not being arranged properly. So let's say I come here again, I change this, let's make this 100, and let's make this 300. So let's come back here and try to do what we just did again and see. So first of all, let's take this out. So if I come here and I say equals to VLOOKUP, and my lookup value is this, of course. My table array, still using this, of course. My column index, of course, is 2. And then approximate match, which is true. And then I close this and I hit enter. You can see this person got 300 and something. But here, 300, we said should be 10. But has he given it the person 10? No. Rather, you can see what's happening. And if I drag this down, this is still going to be wrong. And it will give me different. So it's wrong. It's not going to work. So if this thing is not in an ascending order, then approximate match does not work. So this has to move in ascending order. That is just what I was trying to. Okay, somebody said it was because 100 was repeated. Yes, even if 100 is not repeated, it will still not work. Even if 100 is not repeated, it will still not work. That's just the truth. Because it is not in an ascending order. So even if 100 is not repeated. Or let me even do it so that you see. Let's come here. Let's put the 100 here. And let's come here. Let's put the 300 here. Then let's also come here. Let's put 10 here. And then let's come here. Let's put 5 here. So that none is repeated. So if I come here and I say equals to VLOOKUP, lookup value this, table array this, then column index, of course, 2, and then there's approximate range lookup true, and I hit enter. This is 15, okay? But you see here, 300 is supposed to be 10, while 100 is supposed to be 15, but it's not working. And if I drag this down, you can still see, rather 300 is giving us 15. 100 is giving us 0. 100 here is 15. And then, so it will just give you the wrong answer. Can even see 200 is giving us 0. Meanwhile, 200 here is against 5. So it will still not work. It will give you a wrong answer. The moment it is not, it does not move in an ascending order. That's just what you need to understand. It has to move in an ascending order for approximate match to work. That is the rule. Okay. So I want to believe everybody follows. Let me do this again. Equals to, so using VLOOKUP, we said our lookup value is the quantity ordered. Our table array is everything here. You can pick either from up here or from the first one down. It's still the same thing. And then our column index, we said is 2. And then we say we are using approximate match because we are doing an approximation. We don't have exact match there. So we hit enter. And of course, you can see for everybody, they have been allocated exactly the free cookies that matches the quantity they bought according to these criteria. That is what has been done here. Okay. So let's go, maybe when I do this example, maybe to make it a bit more easier, let's do this. Maybe this will make it a bit simpler. So remember what we did with this thing then, where we had here, we did something like this, said grades. So let's just come down here. So let's call this 7th, let's call, no. Remember we said it must be in an ascending order. So let's call this 30. Let's call this 30 would be, this 30 will be E. Let's call this 40. And this will be D. Let's call this 50. And this will be C. Let's call this 65. And this will be B. Then let's call this from 80. And this will be A. So let's just call this 0. Let's make this F. So with something like this, I can use VLOOKUP to now fill in this. So if I come here and I say equals to VLOOKUP, my lookup value, of course, is this total score. This is my lookup value. comma. My table array would be this. This would be my table array. Everything here, comma. Now my column index here, of course, is the second column here. And then what do I need here? I need an approximate match. I don't need exact match because I need it to do approximation for me. So if I come here and I hit an approximate match, close this bracket and hit enter, you can see immediately it has shown me that this student is an E student. So let me try running this down. Let's see what has happened. The next person gave me C, which is even, yes, it's correct because this is not up to. But then you can see other ones, it's not working. So what is telling me here is something is wrong. And for some of us, we should know what's wrong. What is wrong there? What is wrong? What is wrong? Ah, okay, thank you. Yes, relative cell movement. That is what is wrong. So let's do it again and lock the cell listing. So equals to VLOOKUP. Lookup value is this. Table array is this. Then column index, we say is 2, and then say true. So this time, instead of just leaving it this way for it to move relatively, we come here, we hit our F4, locking that position, come here, hit F4. So we've locked everything in this range. So now if we hit enter, this is an E student, and if we hit this down, you can see automatically it has filled all of this into this. So this is VLOOKUP, returning these values for us. But now, this could only work because we showed it the basis for this to be returned. And then this basis we arranged in, what is it called? In ascending order. That is why this could work, as you can see. So it must be in an ascending order for it to work. But you can see, these students scored 85. Of course, we said anything from 80 is the A. You see this one, 71, is not up to 80. So that is a B student, and so on and so forth. Anyone, even this one, 79, you can see is a B. But anything from 65 is what is, you can see this one is not up to 65, is a C, and so on and so forth. So I want to believe we've learned something. Okay. So please, I would like us to go and practice this. The data set I will send to the group, that data set contains everything right from the first example we did to this, and we even have more. I have other sheets there. So this, I have HLOOKUP, I even have XLOOKUP there also, both XLOOKUP for one column and XLOOKUP for returning multiple. So I'm going to send this data sheet. So you can even start practicing ahead of our next class. Try other things out. Okay, so, but for now, I'm going to drop our assignment for the week and we'll call it a day here. So let's try different examples across different things using VLOOKUP. So the assignment is this. You'll be using that COUNTIF file. Let me see. So you'll be using this file that I sent to us when we did our COUNTIFs this thing. So what are you going to do? In this file here, I need you to come to a new sheet. Just open a new sheet like this. Then put in everything here like you have. Then this is the original sheet. No. This is the original sheet. So I want you put in all the headers this way. Then do a drop down. Let me show us how a drop down is done. Then use that drop down to use VLOOKUP and return all other informations for me. So this is what I mean when I say do a drop down. So come here. Okay, that's the new sheet. Let me just copy everything here. Let me show so that somebody will not come on. So come here. I have this pasted here. So I pasted everything. Okay, so here I will do a drop down. The drop down, for those of us that did our assignment, we should know where we have data validation. So we have that. Where do we have data validation? Should have even allowed us to look for it. So this is data validation. That's what you use for a drop down. So now I'll come, the first one here is settings. So I don't want any value. I want to put it in a list. I'm using a list. And what's the source of this list? So I'm going to say the source of this list is from here. Everything here under this customer number is what I'm using for that list. So now I'm done with the source of my list. I can come here, put the input message and error message, but right now I want to ignore that. So I just come here and click on OK. So immediately, if I click here now, I have all of my customer numbers. They are here. They are here. Everything you can see. So now, I want us to use this customer number to return every of all this other information. So this should be your lookup value in returning all of these different columns, such that if I come here and I pick a particular customer number, this information, everything here should change and give me the information of this very customer. So it should change to this customer's full name, gender, city, country, phone number, order date, product quantity, and if you have gifts on your own, and even the gift. So everything here should be responsive to whatever customer number is here. So use VLOOKUP to return every of this information according to what you have here. So every time I change the customer number to any number, even if I come here and I type, let's say 10041, and I hit my enter, it should automatically return all of this information for this very red number for me. So that's the assignment. Please, let's do it and submit. So I think I've done a very, I've explained almost, I don't want to start because if I do it, then I've done the assignment. So let's do it. It's very simple. This one is not a difficult assignment at all. We've done it in one of the examples we did. So we did something like that. I did not send us to filter and sort to please. I only said put every customer number into a drop down. I did a drop down. I did not do filter and sort. Okay. So all of this information, all of this information will now be displayed in just this one row at a time, depending on whichever customer I'm looking for the person's information of. And then that customer information will be displayed. So anytime I change the customer number to any other customer, so it's just like the banking system I told you, where I said if you just come, you input the customer's, let's say the customer's account number. Let's say this is the account number and I press enter. Immediately I can see that customer's name. If maybe we have a photo, I'll see everything related to. So it's just something like that. Okay, so I want to believe that's, please, do we understand? Let me take a few questions before we shut down. No, I cannot do example here. If I do example, then I've done the assignment for us because the assignment is very simple. I said for the, what is it called? Drop down. Just select the cell where you want to do your drop down on. then go to data tab, then come to where you have the data tools. You have your data validation there. Then, okay, thank God, a few people here say they understand very clearly. So then, if you maybe still have issues, you can ask in the group, they will help you. Okay, I have one hand raised. Let me just take that. That's the only question I will take, and then we'll call it a night. Okay, Gadioba.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening.
Mine is not really a question, please. I just want to appeal that you please reshare the data set.
The one we used in class, right?
No, for the previous one, you the assignment.
The counting file.
I did a factory reset for my device.
Okay.
So I lost all my data.
Just ask in the group. Somebody would drop this thing for you, the data set for you. The data set I'll be dropping is the one we use for the VLOOKUP. I'll drop so that we can also do the practice we did in class.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So that is that. Please, the link for the assignment submission, I will drop it on Monday. Please, let's submit through that link. Please, let's try. So when I'm posting the names for those that did this assignment, I will be posting both the one of the, I remember the previous assignment, I've not posted it. I had a reason for that. So I'll be posting both together, respondents for both assignments. So I'll post them together. On Monday, I'll drop it. Submission deadline is Thursday, midnight on Thursday. 12, that should be 12 a.m. That's midnight on Thursday. Nigerian midnight. Please, not Ghana, not Kenya. Nigerian time, midnight. Okay. Thank you. So good night, everyone. Have a lovely night rest until we meet again next week. Thank you.